Good morning, everybody. So today I wanted to talk to you about the narcissist is terrified by the fact that you gotta go. And you may ask, what am I getting at today? Well, what I'm getting at today is it's terrifying to them. It terrifies them that you have to leave, meaning they can only do cycles. They know this. And this is partly how you also can put them to this dark energy attachment. See, dark energy is an energy that it's insatiable, so it always has to run after the next best thing, or they get tired. Dark energy gets tired of things very quickly because it's lustful, and it lusts for the things that are of the world. And that's what dark energy does. It always has been. You can go all the way back into antiquity and you're going to find that whatever dark energy is dealing with, meaning demonic entities, fallen entities, this is what they're attached to, the spirit of narcissism, whatever you want to call it. It's dark energy that's related to this world system. And we all know that for us to elevate out of this world system, we need to know Lord. And we need to do what are the good fruits that are spoken of in the word. And those good fruits are why the narcissist comes to people that have light. And they come to them to put their light out. They also have a lot of fuel, and they also have usually the ability to absorb negative fuel because they're empathic. And empathic, also is suggestive of that you can read people's feelings. And because of that, you can, till you wake up to understanding this kind of stuff, you can also get confused on what's your energy and what's not. And that can happen to you in the beginning stages of this. So you could be like accepting energy that's not yours. And if you've been groomed for this, then you've been accepting it a lot of times from the hierarchy family that you grew up in, because you might have been groomed this way. Typically that's the case. But they also know that they have to leave because they're on cycles and they're not in control themselves, right? They're in control. At some point they have to leave because the dark energy is in control of them. So it makes them leave. It makes them destroy and sabotage every relationship that they've ever been in, whether they like it or not, because they have made, just like you made a pact to go into covenant with the narcissist for a time, they have made a pact with this dark energy to go into covenant with them for life. Outside of, say, deliverance or something, it doesn't seem like there's anything that can be done, for them. But, and this is the case. So they have to operate in cycles. And so this terrifies the narcissist, because the narcissist has to use witchcraft on you to ensure that you're going to be around for, say, cycle number 2 or cycle number 3, because the dark energy or the entities, they know about these cycles. They run in these cycles, but everything in this world system has cycles to it. And so that's what they try to do with you, is they try to learn the certain things around your life and ways that they can get familiar with your types of cycles as well. Mostly the cycles run with the narcissist, but you got to be honest with yourself. We also have certain things that we are inclined to do on a daily basis. They may not be in the realm of evil, but it's kind of like people that are regimented. They have what you could also call a cycle, right? If they get up and do the same thing every day. But they also know that this is going to happen. And they know that all of their power, their energy, when it comes to this, the primary source supply is major fuel for them. And this is the fuel that they can use, but it does, because it's dark energy and it's insatiable at some point. It just is, it's greedy. And greedy energy that's negative, it doesn't know how to stop. And because they are soulless and they have these things in them, or, they're slow, or if they do have a soul, it's heavily burdened down, right? To a point to where they have no control. This thing is running them. And, I don't know whether they like it. I think that in some cases they like it when the fuel is high, but they also, dislike it when their fuel is low. I personally believe that. But you are their stabilizer. Because you're good fuel, you have stability. The closer you are to God, the more stable that you are going to be in your stature and understanding your values. See, when you have no values and boundaries or anything, like the narcissist, and you're being controlled by multiple beings, not to mention you have your own mind, and then they have their beings inside. as well. I mean, you're talking about multiple things going on in there, and you're getting the narcissist getting pulled to and fro, right? And they're getting pulled by their addictions at this point. And so what happens is they have to leave, but they use witchcraft on you to knock you down and to devalue you, to get you to believe this. And as much as they can get you to believe this, gaslighting, all of these things they do and put upon you, they leave you when you have no energy left. So that's why you're in anxiety and depression, and you're shaken and you don't know what to do. You don't know who you are. It's because you've been dealing with somebody who's almost soulless. And that energy is not from this realm. It's from another community, so to speak. It's from another world, another dimension. And because all of this is going on, and you're throwing yourselves at them, you're talking about, you're giving them heavy fuel, love, care, you're trying to look at them in good ways, and constantly you're getting destroyed. But what you're basically like, so a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, it says in the word. So this is what they're dealing with. That's why they'll never be successful, and they continue to sabotage everything, because they're constantly double-minded. And you get double-minded when you're with them, because you don't know what you're dealing with or who you're dealing with at any particular time. You don't know what can occur. It could end at any moment, and your whole life's hands is almost hangs in the bounds of this relationship the more you invest into them, okay? And then they get you trauma bonded. So they're addicted to fuel. They're addicted to, see, the entities got them addicted to the fuel and the takedown of people and seduction and the sabotage and all of these things, the gaslighting, the duper's delight, all of that stuff they're addicted to now. So they have to, that's why they're hungry for it. Not only is it the entity inside them, but now, see, these guys get trained from, the enemy trains them amongst several levels of demonic entities to a point to where, that's why it talks in the Bible that there was a guy named Legion that had a legion of demons in him. He had 10,000, I think a legion is 10,000 demons. So it didn't start out like that. But you also always hear that there's never less than, you never have just one demon in you, is what they'll typically say, these deliverance pastors as well. And so they enter, and then they get, the narcissist would get convinced to allow more and more and more, and they get trained up. See, they're always trying to make their skill even more devious. That's all they try to learn. Well, you need demons to become more devious. And so they let them in. And so what you're doing is you're getting their karma, because you are blessing them with the fuel that they're using to destroy you and everybody else, including themselves, really, at the end of the day. And that's why you get karma for that, or reap what they're sowing, because you're connected to them and they're taking your fuel, and you're allowing it to happen. It may be unbeknownst to you, but you're under a spell. But this is part of this where I talk about the generational curse. Some of this is breaking by you being a truthful individual and playing that out. I mean, living it out. And as you live it out more and more, it will cause a break in the curse. But, you want to be close to the Lord. You really want to know the Lord. I mean, because breaking this thing without the Lord is something that could happen, but then you could still be walking under other curses, really. But what you need to do is self-source. That's why they talk about becoming independent and self-sourcing, meaning don't ask the narcissist for questions, because everything from them comes confusion. And anytime you deal with the narcissist, you're giving them your fuel. And you don't want to fuel the enemy, because when you fuel the enemy, all they do is they mock you, they sabotage you, they devalue you, they wound you, they give you fear and doubt and all of these things. And it's guilt and shame and all of these things that are putting you on this negative frequency that is at the level of the narcissist. And so when you self-source it, I don't need validation. Everything you need is in here and through God. And so this is kind of how this stuff is happening, why it's happening to you. But some of it is because, we're all subtle to generational curses. We probably, every individual out there has some sort of generational curse that somebody in their genealogy has put upon them. But it's not a curse that can't be broken. It's something that you just have to wake up to, and then with the Lord, you can break it. But if the narcissist is to view somebody who has totally thrown themselves into the curse, see, their generational curse was narcissism too. So you're getting to see a mirror reflection of what you could have been if you'd accepted all the things they did. But that's to go down the road of allowing the manipulation to occur day after day after day, and then walking in that fear we talk about, which then leads to pride, which blocks you from processing any of your emotions, just flinging it on people. So you start to then go like that. You start to work and operate that way. That's where the construct begins. The construct turns into entities. It's opening doors as you get more familiar with the construct, because then you grow deeper into it. You become more sophisticated at it. And as you become more sophisticated at it, that's where the doors open. More manipulative, more and more and more. And then they enter, and then you can't get rid of them. And that's the problem with the narcissist. You need to fuel yourself. Don't fuel the enemy. The enemy just is going to get fuel to take you down. And so you got to stop looking at answers from the enemy. I mean, you got to know, you just got to learn to accept the person that you met in discard and know that that's the true individual you're dealing with. And anything else is to chase some ghost image. You know, the one in the love bomb phase was the ghost image that never existed. And if you can't break that part of the curse, then you're going to be having a very hard time going anywhere else. You're going to be stuck. And see, that's part of the problem with people that become stuck in this, because they really, really cared about some individual, but it was an imitation. They just mirrored back to you who you wanted. And then they became that. They're a chameleon. Okay, so then they became everything that you wanted. And then they got you to lust over those things. And then they supplied some of the, they enticed you, and then they fulfilled you a few times, see? And that's how they caught you. It's kind of like if you never do a drug, you'll never be addicted to it. You don't even know how it feels, and you won't even worry about it because you never did it. You never needed it, and you won't. But once you take that drug, that's where the addiction starts. And so that's what they did. They enticed you, and they made this image into exactly what you had defined and described for them. And they put it all on. And that's where it talks about they come as an angel of light. And that's what they did to you. And then they drew you in, and they enticed you, right? And then they fulfilled some of those lustful needs. Okay? And then they, for a minute, became what you had imagined. It's all fantasy. They drag you into into their fantasy. But part of it is yours too. Thoughts that you have. But you kind of wanted to live it for real, and they drag you into, and you wanted to do it wholly with trust and love and, you know, putting God first and stuff, but then you allowed them to drag you in, and then it becomes nothing from an enemy is good. It's not nothing that's going to be creative. It's not going to be righteous. It's going to be evil and lustful. That's the imitation, right? That's the fake. The fake of goodness or love is lust, right? And to them, love is power and control over you, because then they can get you to do what they want. And they feel that in their twisted mind as power and control is love. They really do believe that. Anyway, so this is how it works. And you got to ask yourself, how do you feel? That's what the therapist would ask you. How do you feel? You feel horrible. Just admit it. Well, then you need to leave. Really. And they get you all confused and gaslit and all kind of things. And then you're second guessing yourself, right? Then you got to go to them for validation and for more information. But you don't ever want to go to the enemy for information, because if you're fighting a war and you're going to go to the enemy and ask them to help you, do you really think you're going to get some good strategic plans to fulfill your needs? No. They're going to lie to you every time. And so that's how you got to look at it. This is war. And that's why God says to stay vigilant and to keep your distance and have nothing to do with them, because you got to accept the fact that it is what it is, and you got to move on and walk in the spirit, not in fear, and to know him in spirit and in truth, and not in fear and lies. So if you can give me a like, thumbs up, or subscription, love you all. Peace. We out.